Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody. This is episode number 238. 238. If you'd like to follow me online, you can do that on my Twitter and Instagram, both at Casting for Two. And again, I got to mention Cougar Gaming because I think it's a wonderful computer accessory company. And I've mentioned it in the past couple of episodes. They sent me out the Cougar Gaming Revenger S gaming mouse. And I still can't find anything bad to say about it because I think it's super smooth and nice. And oh my gosh, I don't want to stop using it. I tried gaming the other day with it, and oh my gosh, so smooth. It's like I'm gaming on a hot pan with butter. I don't know what that means, but you know what? I'll let you fill in the gaps. If you'd like to pick yourself up a Revenger S gaming mouse, link in the description. Go to their website, cougargaming.com, or find them on Amazon, Newegg, all those good places. So I highly recommend it, so you guys should give it a shot, try it out. And yeah. So I guess I should talk about my guest for today. My guest is one Brit McGinnis, and she is a copywriter who lives in the wonderful state of Oregon. Everyone knows how much I love Oregon, kind of have a personal attachment to it. But we met each other on Twitter, and we have just chatted back and forth, and then we decided to take it to the next step and do a podcast episode. So that's what we did. And Britt is a wonderful person, and I had a fun time chatting with her. So yeah, I guess I should stop talking. We should get into this episode. So sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please.
Work. I'm glad that it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a nice crisp morning here. There's no snow on the ground.
There we go. Because where in you don't have to give your address out, of course, but where in Portland do you live?
I live out in the burbs, so it's nice in that it's like a little city right outside of Portland, and they actually do have their shit together when the weather gets bad. But we've had no snow to contend with this year, which is great.
Gotcha. Nice. You see, it's the opposite for me. I'm in San Antonio.
Oh, wow.
And people don't know what to do when it rains and or snows. You know, it's just people are freaking out over, a couple centimeters of like I call it freezer burn because that's all it is.
Right.
And they're just, the roads are shut down because, people don't drive good here.
Right.
Not the best drivers. So even on normal days, it's horrible. You add, icy roads, it's bad.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, we've definitely been there.
Yeah. So I'm glad they have their shit together where you live.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year Portland was infamously unprepared for the snow. So I'm happy to live in at least a region. Like it's not as much of a cool region of the Portland metro area, but they have their shit together. So that's worth it.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of, it's like, do I really need like 10 cool coffee shops, or can I live, in an area that's nice and has their shit together?
Well, ideally it's both. And I mean, my area is getting more cool every year, so that's helpful.
They're going to get less prepared.
Thing. That's a good thing. I like the new and different people are moving in. But cool. So it wasn't too clear. Did you want to treat this as like a pre-recording session, or did you want to just straight up record?
So here's the thing. We started.
Oh, okay.
It's pre-recorded, and then I release it out, and it's just very casual. It's just fun chat time.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I've listened a little bit, so that makes sense. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, no, and that's part of the thing that I do. As soon as I pick up the call, I'm already recording. It throws some people off. I've definitely gotten some people that are, just let me know when we're recording. And I go, well, we're recording right now. Hello, how's it going?
Well, yeah, sure. I gotta look like this cool copywriter person on the internet.
Exactly. So first off, let's tell the people at home where we know each other, but we don't know each other. It's one of those weird things.
I like to think of you as my Twitter friend.
Yeah, exactly. We met each other on Megan Johnson, who is amazing and all that good stuff. She hosts a weekly Twitter chat called Tipsy Chat, and we just met each other there.
Yeah, it's a real good time. Megan keeps creating great things even when she's blowing up and becoming popular, and I admire anybody who's like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised she still talks to me, to be honest with you.
Why? She's a great person, though.
I know, but one day she's like, you know what? I'm too important for this guy.
I could never imagine her doing that.
We'll see. Time will tell. I'm gonna be out on the street corner begging for change, and she's gonna walk past me.
Yeah, right. She'll be the person doing a GoFundMe to get you a place. Are you kidding me? That's just who she is.
You know what? You might be right about that. But we met there, and we've just kept in contact and just chatted back and forth. And I've always enjoyed your posts. And
well, thank you.
Of course. And so now we're gonna chat. We're gonna actually chat. This is the first time I've heard your voice.
Well, thank you. I hope it's not crazy high. It's interesting. I think back because my voice changed to be like a more womanly voice around seventh grade, and before then, do you know Handel's Messiah, the Hallelujah chorus setup?
No, I'm not familiar with this.
It's a classical music nerd thing, I guess. But it's the whole set of music, choral and orchestral, that includes the Hallelujah chorus. That's where that comes from.
Oh, okay.
And I was able to sing the highest woman part in that when I was 13 years old. I was a little screech owl. It was great.
And then not anymore, though?
Not anymore. This is actually not the lowest my voice has ever been, but close to it. But I find that people are surprised when they hear my voice because they're like, wow, you sound so young. And I'm like, yeah, well, thanks, I guess.
How dare you? Get out of my face.
Well, it's weird as a woman because you want to be taken seriously all the time. So it's like, okay, if you have a high voice, it must be like if a man has an exceptionally low voice, it's like, okay, you have to know and manage people's expectations that way.
I've never thought of it that way. I don't know. I feel like my voice, of course, there's that thing where I hear what my voice is inside of my head, and then I'll listen back to it, and it's like, that's my voice.
Right.
But yeah, my buddy, who I've known for over, 18 years now, has had the deepest, lowest voice since he was probably 5.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's been able to grow a beard for at least 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He's that manly. I'll just say that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I come from radio people in my family. Like my grandfather, God love him, he's in his 70s. He hosts his own podcast all about jazz music, but he was like a DJ in the golden age, so that's really cool. And my boyfriend has a really low voice, and it's interesting, weird. I find that people are attracted and drawn to people with really characteristic voices. So that's always something I've been interested in.
Yeah, first of all, your grandfather hosts a podcast where he talks all about jazz music.
Yeah, it's like the it's like the PBS style where
Oh,
it's like
okay.
okay, it's a long clip and then he'll intersperse with history and then go back to music. So it's nice. It's nice ambience.
That is the best thing ever.
Thank you. I'm
Uh,
very happy for him.
it's and that, and I just received an album the other day from a Seattle jazz man, and I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, this music's great. But the one thing that he did that I was blown away with, he included the sheet music.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's a nice
and
offering.
yeah, I don't know what to do with it, but it's super cool.
Just give it to a musician friend. They'll learn the piece.
There you go. Learn it, play it. So we should talk about you though.
I guess we have
We have
to.
to. Well, just a little bit, and then we'll go back to jazz. No. So when did you
This is a
know?
jazz podcast.
Exactly. Ugh. Look, I like jazz and all, but I can't. I played jazz for like 7 years.
Oh, so you're jazzed out.
Oh my gosh, so jazzed out.
Hey, that works. That works.
But for you, when did you know? So you mentioned you're a copywriter.
That I am.
Is there a moment in your life when you were just like, hey, this writing thing, I like doing this. Let me just keep doing it.
It was always there, man. I mean, I hate to be one of those people, but I wrote my first full-length novel when I was 13.
No
Like it,
way.
that was that was always there. It was not good. I'm taking like elements of it. I'm taking elements of it now and incorporating it into future work, so it's not unhelpful.
Hmm.
But no, that has always been there. I always wanted to make and translate ideas into stories. The copywriting bit, I think, has always been there too, but it took me longer to recognize it. And a lot of it had to do with, I wrote about this extensively on Medium, but I really lost spirit in my work as a journalist and I wanted to find something different. And
Hmm.
I loved the ethos of the copywriting world and that, yeah, up front, it's words that sell things. But
Hmm.
then now that that's out of the way, it's like, okay, now we can be crazy artistic within that mindset.
Okay. And so I see. I've always been super jealous of writers, just because I don't consider myself a writer. I put words on digital paper, and it sometimes makes sense.
Oh,
But the fact that it blows my mind, the fact that anybody can write a novel and have it, begin, middle, and end. Because I feel one day I'd love to do a novel, but yeah, I just don't feel like I got it in me.
so then don't. Then that's just the state of who you are. I
Right.
think, well, I've gotten into playing Dungeons and Dragons recently, and I
Hmm.
realized there are more people that have the story generator urge than I think they realize. And some people have that and manifest it into writing books. Some manifest it into telling stories. Some people manifest it into organizing and creating a lot of things. So I think more people have that urge than they realize. It's just how they put it out into the world that differs.
That makes sense. What was now, without giving too much information out, what was your first novel about?
Oh gosh, first novel. It was basically fan fiction for The Princess Bride. It
Oh, okay. Okay.
was real fun. The first social media writing gig I ever got, though, like my first ever paid content for a brand was actually for a campaign from the Irish government. I
Oh,
interned with an agency that worked with them in college. So writing content for a brand that way was really illuminating and also just way more intuitive than I thought it was going to be.
yeah, it's yeah. Like what were some of the things that you wrote for the Irish government, like
It,
potato shortage?
no, God, no, that's no. Dude, okay, slight tangent. They actually just announced like there's going to be a formal day in Ireland to commemorate the potato famine, like
Oh,
at last. Like it's going to be a national holiday. So
okay.
I'm actually really happy about that. It's like, ah, finally. But no, the agency worked with them in one of their tourism efforts. So I
Mm,
would write about baking schools. I would write about unconventional trips you could take within Ireland, and I love it. I love that Ireland again very upfront about the commercial aspect of like, yeah, no, we want people to come here. We
yeah.
want people to come and enjoy this place, and we're tourism is almost like a national priority to them. I'm not going to say it is because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but it's a lovely thing that they're just openly focused on it.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about your journalism side a little bit. And I'm just curious, as somebody who loves acting and actors and all in music in general, for me, if I'm not feeling it, it's hard for me to really dig into the material. Was there ever a point where you were assigned something to do, you weren't feeling it, but you still had to somehow find a way for yourself to connect with it?
Absolutely. I think every journalist feels that at some point. It's just a matter of do they deal with it and do they love the work underneath it? And I dealt with it, sure, but I realized over time this is not what I want to do long term. I love being a journalist. I loved being a journalist, but the landscape changed so much that I had to get selfish and say, no, I want a field that can feed me. And I don't think this can.
Okay. And how long were you a journalist?
I was a journalist on and off for about 2.5 years, just writing for various outlets. And I still write for different outlets, but that's not where my main focus of work is right now.
Okay. Okay. I it's not the same as you, but again, it was one of those things where I saw people on the school newspaper and I was just like, man, I want to do that. And then I did it. And then it was just, you learn how to type fast, which is nice.
Is that the extent to which that you got out of journalism?
Yeah, that's what I got out of it. I was able to type real fast and under pressure.
Oh my gosh. So you would love being a copywriter then because it's you write one thing and then well you research, then you write, and you edit, and you get feedback and you edit, and you end up with something great.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but see, I mean that's cool. I'm not a great editor though. That's the only thing. My grammar sucks. My spelling sucks. So if this was a publication that was just like, we don't care about anything, then sign me up.
Right.
Are there any fun projects coming up that you would like to chat about, or say some that you just had fun doing?
Well, I should say that the last bit of journalism I ever did was for Marijuana Venture. I went to Alaska. I went to Valdez, Alaska, the site of the first ever legal dispensary, and I interviewed people because it was right in the middle of a fight to maybe get that dispensary out, which thankfully they lost. It still exists up there, but just asking about the scene and asking why has cannabis tourism never really taken off in Alaska, and people talked about why they thought that was. And it's so interesting because I live in Oregon, which is cannabis tourism all over the place because there's already a big tourism sector here and legalization happened and there's all sorts of entrepreneurship bubbling up. And so just learning about a completely different landscape was illuminating. So it was fun writing about that. But I'm actually launching a new newsletter in February. I'm not sure what day it is yet, haven't launched yet, but it'll be just about copywriting. I have one newsletter all about horror and about spooky stuff and just fun spooky things called The Weekly Spooky. But this new one will be the copy hostess, and it'll be basically, here's the best of everything that happened last week so that you can move into this week knowing what you need to know.
There we go. That's super helpful. Just because a person like me, I will admit I'm not up to date with the news. If it wasn't trending on Twitter, I probably wouldn't have known about it. Or if Judd Apatow doesn't retweet about it, then I probably wouldn't know about it.
Sure.
We'll talk more about that. But it's very weird. I was visiting Oregon in the end of September, and it was so weird seeing a pizza place I used to go to become a dispensary.
Isn't that fun though? Because there's more foot traffic and all that. What was the pizza place?
Oh no, this was in Salem. Yeah, it was just a random.
Oh,
yeah, it was like
Salem.
A mom and pop place.
Gosh. Salem is such an interesting town.
Yeah.
Really. And that's about the size of Alaska's largest city. Just for comparison's sake, Salem felt about the same size as Anchorage.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. But which is funny because Alaska is the biggest state.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got little tiny cities. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
and
Yeah.
there's lots of distance between them too, which is a huge factor in terms of like driving and safety and all that. Which is
Makes.
so interesting to think about compared to other places in the country.
Ah, ah. But anyway, yeah, the whole marijuana thing, and then now it's apparently going away. Or no, it's not going away. They're just gonna start. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on today. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to dissect. I don't even want to make it myself seem like I'm smarter than I am. I'm just not. I'm just gonna blow over it. So you said you had a horror newsletter.
Yes, it's called The Weekly Spooky. It comes out every Friday. And I talk about horror. I talk about just spooky general interest things. But if people want to work with me, I also do a live tweet of a horror movie a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really fun.
Do you? I know you probably get asked this, but what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Okay. So whenever people ask me that, I always
Yeah.
ask, what are you looking for when you ask me that? Because I mean, I could give you a quote, smart horror movie. I could give you a mindless but really fun horror movie. I can give you an artistic horror movie. But so that is always my follow-up question, and I'm sorry. But my favorite of all time, I would have to say, I really love Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. That and it's. Uh, I mean, I'm kind of in the similar, but I love Halloween.
Mhm.
Halloween. There's something about slasher movies that, especially made back in the day, where they were just they're untouchable. I think.
Well, I'm very happy, and my boyfriend is wonderful and helped me come to this conclusion. But I still continually love horror, and it still has such a big fan base because fear is the only emotion you can't bullshit.
Yeah.
Like either you're scared or you're not. So it's a film that is always compelling itself to be more original. And so that's why we have things like Crypt TV, which is an amazing YouTube channel and a great production company in general that releases new horror videos all the time. I mean, that's why we have lots of internet horror. Like there's something happening. There's a YouTube channel called I'm Mary Mary,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great phenomenon because they just opened a Twitter account alongside it. I mean, Marble Hornets and Slender Man. I mean, people
Yeah.
want horror because they want that novelty. So even if you're not getting into movies or movies are feeling not good according to your own taste, there's always good horror out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not saying I love horror movies, but definitely as a kid, there was always that the ghost movie, especially Halloween, where I was terrified of it. And then one day, I don't know, I guess I lost my innocence, and now when I watch a scary movie, if I see a bit of CGI, I'm completely taken out, and I'm like, okay, it's not real.
See, I've seen really great CGI. Like I'm watching American Horror Story Freak Show with my mother-in-law, and it's great to see her reactions to Dot and Bet,
Uh
which
huh.
is a completely CGI representation of a real actress playing a two-headed woman.
Mm.
So conjoined twins. It's two completely different characters. I think she does a very good job, but that's, I think, CGI used in a very artistic, good way. So
Hmm.
I never immediately rule it out.
I can't help it. It's something I can't like. I'll watch. What was that one movie? Crimson Rim. Wait, well, no,
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak. I just combined
Oh my gosh.
Twin
Well,
Peaks with it.
that was just a weird movie in general.
Well,
I think Guillermo del Toro, I think it was mismarketed
right.
terribly.
Well, I saw behind the scenes still of the monster, and I was like, oh, this monster looks fake, or not fake. This looks scary. Let's do this. Let's watch this. And then I'm watching the movie, and they put a bunch of digital stuff around the monster, and I'm just, dang.
Well, I think it was really complicated because, I mean, they correctly assumed, okay, people are going to come see this because Tom Hiddleston has such a huge fan base.
Right.
So I think they pivoted around more of the Victorian romance angle than maybe was intuitive or was originally planned.
Mm,
And
makes sense.
I feel bad because you could see the actors in the press tour like shifting their taglines and shifting their language halfway through in talking about the movie, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad.
Nah, they got over it. They're okay.
I still totally saw it.
Yeah, no, well, I rented it, but
Mhm.
that's fine. But okay, awesome. And so for people at home who want to sign up for your horror newsletter, your copyright newsletter, where can they do all that?
Well, you're going to see more about my copywriting newsletter in the next few weeks, but you can go to my website, which is blackbowcommunications.com. You can learn more about my packages, what I do for copywriting, and my work there. But you can also subscribe to the Weekly Spooky over there too. And there's also a prompt in my Twitter profile page, which, by the way, have you seen my new shop?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Okay. So on my Twitter profile, there's a link to it, but there is now an official Black Bow Communications Amazon shop.
Ooh, okay.
It's fun. It's like a lot of the spooky aesthetic stuff that you love from me, but it's also a lot of copywriting stuff that I find helpful, a lot of writing stuff I found helpful, just a lot of stuff that's my business aesthetic, but also just stuff I love and would recommend to people in general.
Nice, nice. So everyone go check that out.
You do too. You tell me what you buy from there.
Okay, I will.
If there's anything that grabs you.
To be honest, I'm on it right now, and I'm loving that Frankenstein poster.
Yeah, I love that. I also picked it because that particular offering is relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Jesus, there's some really expensive posters out there.
Yeah, I agree. Here and I recently watched all the Universal horror movies.
How did that go?
It went
well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, once again, it was a there's of course it's a time before special effects and stuff like that. And I like Dracula because of the fact that in the version I saw, there's so many quiet moments, and that's just not doable these days. Because there would be a score and sound effects, all that. No, it was literally just quietness. And
I keep forgetting that I actually read the original Dracula last year, like the book.
Oh wow, okay.
That's a wonderful book, but it really requires time.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it. It's so much different than you think it's going to be.
Okay, nice. I'll have to give that a read.
It took me weeks, don't get me wrong. But it was completely worth it to me, at least.
Nice. The one movie that I like, or the couple of movies I like, I really like Frankenstein, the regular and the Bride, just because it's such a tragic story.
Oh yeah, I love that. What was it? The podcast You Must Remember This recently did a really good series about the parallel careers of Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
So you really like that.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, no, I kind of miss filmmaking that way, to be honest with you.
In what way?
It's just such a pure way of, figuring things out and using things practically. The Invisible Man, they're like, we have green screen technology. Let's go, how can we utilize this? And it's just, and being a person of that time, it must have been just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And now that we're older into the movie business, it's just like, special effects, it happens,
Well, see, I think we only lose when we give up.
Right.
Like, there's lots of people I know who really have written off social media for marketing, and I'm always the one to be like, no, this is still really powerful and really meaningful. It's just that we've been exposed to people who don't care for so long.
Right.
So, I mean, the best result is, okay, I'm going to get ruthless about what's good or what's not and just shout back, no, throw back and do better.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. But
because that's how we get stuff like the Wendy's Twitter account, which is amazing.
It's and that's another thing we can kind of chat about briefly. It's all these corporations, like you said, Wendy's. There's Arby's. There's Moon Pie, that are just,
I know, right?
They're freaking knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, it's good. They're hitting the critical mass of hiring people that are talented, but also giving them space and room within the organization to do what they think is right. I'm finally happy to see people coming around and be like, oh yeah, no, we're going to give you permission to try to do good work.
Right. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I just wonder if that, there's a boardroom full of people that are just like, look, we got to talk to Gary. He tweeted something out again. We just need him in here. It's like, Gary's doing his thing. No, we need to talk to Gary right now.
Well, and see, it usually doesn't even get that far. It's, oh, you're going to have to float drafts of everything you do by us, and we're going to take forever to implement it and approve it. And then by the timing for that tweet would have mattered, it's already passed, and then they might approve it, or they'll give you side eye and say, like, we're going to have to talk about this concept a little bit more.
Poor Gary. Gary did it to himself, though. He's just that good. But Britt, I feel like we've been chatting for a while. Unfortunately, I think it's time for us to stop. To stop talking.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Of course, thank you for coming on, and it's great to actually finally chat with you. That's not in digital form, although it's
absolutely.
Although it's it still kind of is.
I'd be happy to come back whenever you want.
Well, I'd be happy to have you back whenever you like. All right.
Sounds good. You have a lovely day, and I hope no snow whatsoever comes your way.
It's no worries there. It's again, it's going to be freeze or burn if anything happens. But I hope you don't get any of that cold.
Thank you very much. I feel bad for my East Coast friends. We had it bad last year, and now they're getting it this year.
Yeah. It'll be okay, and then because next thing you know, it's spring, and everyone's happy.
Slush weather. But anyway, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.